Hello, my students. How are you? I hope you are doing well. This chapter was about how to use punctuation marks, and it is so important again, and I will say it again, to use punctuation marks in a proper way because you cannot write any sentence or any paragraph or anything without punctuation marks. And we studied how to use a comma, and we have a lot of rules. What exactly you have to do is just follow these rules to learn how to write how to write and use the punctuation marks and the comma, of course. Today, chapter 13, lesson number 5, page 249. Other comma uses. If you remember when we studied how to use comma, we have many rules, and I taught you how to use comma. Now we have other comma uses. We are gonna learn more about this. You're gonna find out what does that mean, so you can avoid some problems. Use commas to set up yes, no, first, second, next, finally, last, and single word or compound adjectives or adverbs that begin in a sentence. Here we have this dialogue. We have first, you have to write a comma, comma, next, comma, and then do not forget the period. Yes, no, comma, and finally, comma. Okay, and here, as we said about the adjectives and the adverb, frustrated, and then we have a comma. Satisfied and happy, we have comma. He again joined Jackson. So basically here you have to learn how to use these. You can pause the video for a second and study this example because it is so important. Got it? Okay. Here, use commas to separate the date and year. No comma is needed between the month and date or between the month and year. You do not need a comma after a year. No comma is needed when a span from one year to another year is specified. So basically here we're gonna learn how to use comma. For example, here, I visited Berlin on July 24, comma. And here we have the Berlin Wall came down a year later, we have comma. In October 1989, comma. You have to understand this example and study this paragraph again so you can understand and you can learn how to use a comma when you have dates, months, and years. Okay, because not all the time that you should use, let's say, after a year or after a commas. We have specific rules to follow to write a comma in the right way. Here also we have editing tip. Do not use commas between subject and verbs or between verbs and objects. Here, yes, if you remember the first chapter last semester, you studied the revising and the proofreadings tool. So basically you have to know what does that mean. Okay. Now, let's finish about commas. Use commas to separate smaller parts from larger parts of plays or other literary works. Here we have an act, we have comma, scene, we have commas. So you have to understand how to use this. Again, use commas to separate smaller parts from larger parts of a play or other literary works. Okay, it is so easy. Again, some rules, just follow these examples, just imitate them and copy them in every example, and then you're gonna be fine. Use commas following the greeting and closing of a friendly letter and after closing of a business letter. When you say dear, when you say also best or sincerely, at the beginning, for example, dear Miss Noir, for example, you have to write a comma. This is so important. And that, like, when you finish your email or your letter, you're gonna say thank you, period, best wishes, or best. You're gonna write a comma and then you write your name. Also, these rules that you should follow is gonna make your email much better, and you're gonna convince the person that you are want to send this email to. Another thing, use commas to set off direct quotations but not indirect quotations. For example, here, Josie repeated. This is a direct quotations. You have to write a comma, okay? And we have, this is the indirect one, like, you know, when we have, for example, says that he, when you say like repeat repeat what someone said. So basically you do not have to write a comma. We have direct and indirect quotations, and this is so important to understand and learn how to use commas. Okay, use commas to set off tag questions, and this is also another another rule that you should understand. And actually it is so important because you always use tag questions in your life, whether in a conversation or you know, in a letter or in an email or in a text, in a message that you want to send to your friend. So here we have, when you see like wasn't he, don't you, you have to here and there you have to put commas. Okay, so that's pretty much about today's lesson. It is so important, as I said, you have to follow these rules, and again, just study them too, so you can understand everything. Here, exercise number 9, use commas correctly. I want you this, circle the letter of all the correct answers of each questions. So basically you have to do this, okay, and answer this exercise. Also this one, proofreading a friendly letter, like proofread the friendly letter below, add commas and punctuation marks where necessarily. So basically you have to also read this carefully and write commas. You have to use commas so you can, you know, learn more. Okay, and I always say, like here for example, we have dear Rachel, let me help you with this, that you have to write a comma. Okay, so that's it. If you have any question, you can ask me whatever you want. But again, this is so important. These lessons are so important to learn how to use punctuation marks. You have to master this. That's for today. Thank you for watching, and if you have any question that you like to ask me, just go ahead and ask, and do not forget to answer these exercises and send the answers so I can check your answers. Okay, thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day.